Well, what a complete pleasure to be on stage with two great musical minds, both coming from Cuba. I think that the energy in the room, the energy on the bandstand tells me there's something special going on tonight, and it's not just the full moon, I guarantee it. So Paquito, this is your second time here. Hilario's played on this stage many times, but the first time as a band leader. How does it feel? Is it different to be in front of the band tonight?
Yeah, it's a little different. It's a challenge. I'm also challenged to be with this guy here as a guest.
Hilario is so unassuming as a piano player. To see him jump up and dance and conduct, it's great.
I won't dance tonight. I promise.
By the way, if anyone feels like dancing during the show, we very much encourage you to do so. Just get up and dance. It's okay. Let's talk a little bit about the scene in Cuba, and did you guys know each other in Havana?
Yeah, I met Paquito, of course. But what I told you before is that I didn't really play with Paquito in Havana. I remember once I participated in one of his sessions. He was producing and conducting one of the sessions at the Studio Saigren, and he hired me to play the piano.
Do you remember that?
Probably something for Elena Burke, no?
Omar Portuondo.
For Omar, close enough, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, you have a good memory, man. Did you get paid?
I got paid. I got paid.
Yeah.
Not as much as I would like, but I got paid.
Yeah.
And also, another time was when I was at the Orquesta de Música Moderna, and he was, a couple of times he went there and conducted the orchestra for something with, I remember with Armando Romeo.
The first time I saw you was at the Conservatory. You had that
Yeah, but that was a long time ago. I was a kid.
Yeah, that was in 1903. That was like a great year. Jorgito Reyes was the bass player for that time.
Jorgito Reyes.
Yeah. That wonderful trio that you have there.
Yeah.
Paquito, when did you come to America? Was it Dizzy that invited you the first time?
No, I met Dizzy in a very unique way. Everything that happened to you with Dizzy have to be different. I arrived home in Marianao. I used to live 10 blocks from Tropicana Club, Cabaret. And then I arrived at my house and I found a paper bag. Todavía había cartucho todavía cuando eso. A paper bag written in kind of a Spanglish. Yeah, even with a gross at the word, and not too terrible. It said, we have been looking for you. ¿Dónde estabas, coño? Dizzy Gillespie. I said, Dizzy Gillespie, what type of joke is this? So I went to the corner, to the grocery store, to call it some way, and then the guy who was attending there said, did you receive the note? And I said, what note? I smell joke. Well, there was a black guy, a chubby black guy, dressed like Sherlock Holmes, looking for you. I said, that is Dizzy Gillespie, man. A chubby black guy dressed like Sherlock Holmes had to be Dizzy. So it was a boat, who touched port there in Havana, and nobody knew anything. And Arturo Sandoval took him, found him in the pier, and took him to my house. And he was not there. That's the way I met Dizzy.
And were you playing in the Havana Orchestra at that time, or were you playing in jazz bands?
No, I was playing with Iraquere.
With Iraquere.
Yeah. And Hilario was already in taking Chucho's chair. That is a hot chair.
Very hot chair.
Very hot chair, and he did a wonderful job, and almost immediately he became a very recognizable figure in the scene in Havana.
And Hilario, when did you come, and how did you come to Toronto? What circumstance brought you to Toronto?
Yes, I started coming here around 1995. I was invited by Jen Bonnet, because we did a recording in Havana, her first series of Spirit of Havana recording. I was I was in this album together with Merceditas Bardet, the group of Joe Ruandavo, Gonzalo Rubalcaba, and Frank Emilio. So right after that, I was invited to her to play at Harbor Front, one of the show, to release the record there. After that, I started coming a lot, working with Jen since 1995 to 1998. I spent really a lot of time here in Canada, away from my family.
I think Jane has a couple of extra beds in her house that she just brings Cubans all the time. And,
Yeah.
And many of them end up staying. I'm not sure maybe it's her cooking.
And after that, because I was so away from my wife and my daughter, so I decided instead to stay in Cuba, stay here and bring them here. With me.
As I mentioned at the top of the show, Jane is celebrating 30 years of work with Cuban musicians and bringing Cubans here. Chucho will be here. You'll be on the gig as well
we'll be
next October with all sorts of great musicians from Toronto, but also from Cuba. Let me switch to the Lecuanda tune that you played. At the end, you and Luis Mario Ochoa went into another tune by Lecuanda called Siboney.
Sometimes I remember more. Cuando me como unos frijoles negros buenos, pues I remember more.
Como los de ayer.
Como los de ayer. Yeah, Lecuona is an interesting character because that melody, which is the title of his Andalusia suite for just for piano. Everybody remembers that melody, but very few people remember the name of the composer. They call it the Wind and I. There was a movie. Man, you are old.
Hilario, let me talk about the piece you wrote, the Havana piece called Havana Nights?
Havana City.
Havana City. To me, it sounded a little bit like Tom Scott's opening to I just forgot the name of the movie, with Robert De Niro, Taxi Driver. You know the opening of Taxi Driver, Tom Scott's got that beautiful sax solo, and you feel the rain coming down and the taxi driver going through the streets. That's what I was thinking about when hearing your Havana City tune. Was there any influence of that when you wrote it? No.
No, not really. No, this piece, it was inspired by the city, you know, and I was really inspired when I wrote that piece.
It's a very impressive piece. Very nostalgic and very sad.
Because I wrote it.
We used to have the most beautiful city in the entire region, and now it's in ruins, that city. So I felt that sadness, esa tristeza, yo lo sentí ahí. Maybe you do that unconsciously, but I feel it deeply. The destruction of the most beautiful city of the Caribbean Sea. So, well.
Do you have hopes that it's now starting to change little bit by little bit?
Change?
No.
When I left there was an orchestra playing that I didn't like it. And now it's the same orchestra. So, and we work with the same conductor. So musically, that probably you are so talented that you didn't notice that is probably the most impressive piece of music that we played tonight here. Even from the rehearsal, when you play that piece at the end, I had to do an exclamation that is very much from now. You say, "Coño." That's a very Cuban phrase to express when you are really impressed, you know. And it's not too many notes or anything. It's just a melody that is inspired in a rumba. Eso es una llamada de rumba.
No,
La 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 la.
Yeah.
You stole it from there, huh?
I stole it. I
I
stole a
know.
little bit from there. Yeah.
Good.
Only 2 bars. So it's not.
Stravinsky make a career out of that.
Yeah. Only 2 bars, so it's not a plagio. So, no, and also I want to mention that this piece was arranged by, for the big band format, was written by one of my former students, the very talented saxophone player Alison Ao. And she's great. We're going to hear a lot about her here.
She's
In
here
the
in
future,
Toronto.
yeah, she's here in Toronto. And she's doing a lot of working.
It's a girl.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. And she has been working for Vince Mendoza and the Metropole Orchestra. She has been doing a lot of work. So I hired, when I went in February to Germany to play with the WDR, I hired her to write this arrangement for the orchestra. Yeah.
Let me ask you, I first met Paquito in Chicago, then we did some shows together in Philadelphia. When a Latin big band comes to town, it's mostly Cubans, Puerto Ricans, maybe a Dominican, but in Toronto, a Latin big band is, you and a conguero and a timbale player who are from Cuba, and the rest of them are white guys. And yet they can play this music. Is it how much rehearsing, how much Cuban musical knowledge do you have to give them, or do they come to the band with that already?
So, the thing with this concert is that I was looking, I had 3 rehearsals with this band. Sometimes I had to do the same thing with just a half of one rehearsal on one day. And it's really hard to do it, but because there's no time for rehearsal. And I'm really happy. I'm really happy with the result. Yeah.
We have
Gonna
3
be great.
rehearsals, no?
3 rehearsals.
We have 3 rehearsals, but very good band. And talking about people that are foreigners to some type of music, always I maintain the theory that you don't have to be Austrian to play Mozart. So, if you have your wig and it helps, But
No, that's true. That's true. Since I came
Oki
here,
Pinti is a fantastic bass player, and he sounds so Cuban,
yeah.
He knows the music. All you need is some talent and respect to the music, It's studying the music and pay attention to.
But you bring up Mozart, and I've heard from some classical people that, yes, you're right, absolutely, you don't have to be Austrian to play Mozart, but if you're really from Vienna, you really understand the 3/4 time in a way that only Viennese people can understand it. And does the same thing work in Latin jazz or in Cuban music, that there's something in your bones and your soul that you really have to know, or can a good musician do it?
Some people have the talent to understand the different rhythms and all that. People like Alon Yafnai, my pianist, the pianist that played with me in New York, he's from Israel. And he played his mother is from Argentina, but he plays samba like a Brazilian. And he can play a tumbao that he learned from Hilario, from other Cuban pianists. All you need is the talent and the dedication. It's not what they have been happening in Hollywood, for example. That is what they call the Carmen Miranda syndrome. They think that every woman in Brazil had bananas and pineapples in their head and all that. Pop, pop, pop. In Brazil, nobody does like that. Hilario's a wonderful bebop player. And he learned to play the music even before he learned English.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to get back to the music. I made a slip when I introduced the show. I didn't thank our major sponsor for this whole series, and sorry about that, but let me do it now. TD Bank has been with us for all 5 of these great sax concerts. And I'm happy to say they're back again next year as our major sponsor, not only for jazz here at Koerner Hall, but really jazz across the whole country. TD's name is on it. They're huge supporters of music, so we thank them. We're going to get back to the music. We'll take a 1-minute break to get these chairs off, and the band will be back. Thanks all for coming, and stick around afterwards for the student performance.